The YellaWood 500 at Talladega Superspeedway just blew our minds. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. snatched victory from the jaws of chaos, surviving the biggest wreck in NASCAR history and winning by a very small margin. He won the race by an amazing 0.006 seconds. That's like blink and you miss it close. Brad Keselowski was right there in second, with William Byron rounding out the podium. But hold on, this race was about so much more than just the finish. I know y'all are probably wondering about the big one. Well, let me tell you, it lived up to its name. We're talking about the largest crash in NASCAR Cup Series history. Yeah, you heard that right. 28 cars got caught up in this mess with just 5 laps to go. It was like watching a bunch of pinballs bouncing off each other at 200 miles per hour. The chaos started when Austin Cindric got bumped from the lead. Before you could even process what was happening, nearly 3/4 of the field was sliding, spinning, and crashing. It took out a bunch of playoff drivers, too. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe, all of them got caught up in it. But let's rewind a bit, because this race was wild from the get-go. The start was aggressive as all get out, with drivers going 3 and 4 wide. It's like they forgot it was a 500-mile race and thought it was a 50-lap shootout. Somehow, they managed to keep it clean for a while, but you just knew something was going to give eventually. The first stage was a nail-biter. After an early pit stop cycle due to a caution, we saw some of the most intense racing you could imagine. 3 and 4 wide racing was the norm, not the exception. It's a miracle we didn't see more wrecks. The only caution in this stage was for Daniel Suarez spinning out. But here's the kicker. 7 playoff drivers finished in the top 10 of that stage, racking up the valuable stage points. Now let's talk about Ryan Blaney. This guy just can't catch a break lately. At the end of stage 2, Alex Bowman gave him a tap that sent him up the track. Next thing you know, Blaney's car is careening into the wall, taking Ross Chastain and Joey Logano with him. Denny Hamlin got some damage too. Blaney and Chastain, their days were done. Here's what Blaney had to say after the crash. "The 48 just drove straight through me and the tri-oval just wrecked the F out of me. You can't just run wide open through somebody in the tri-oval, but he did."
And then the 48 just drove straight through me in the tri-oval. Yeah, so just wrecked the fuck out of me. So, I don't know what he's thinking.
You came in here with a 28-point cushion. Do you think that'll be enough to give you some leeway at the Roval?
I have no idea. I don't have good hope right now, to be honest with you. We didn't get very good stage points, and obviously we're last. So, just see where it is at the end of it.
Did you see the 48 like behind you, and were you thinking like, gosh, he's gonna have to slow down before he hits me?
Yeah. I thought he would have more sense than that, but obviously he didn't. So yeah, I see him coming. I see him hauling ass towards me, and you think you kind of have to lift a little bit. You can't just run wide open through somebody in the tri-oval.
Can't blame the guy for being frustrated, especially after similar incidents at Watkins Glen and Darlington recently. This crash was a big deal for the playoffs. It collected 3 playoff drivers, Logano, Blaney, and Hamlin. And don't forget, Chastain was coming off a win at Kansas after being eliminated in the round of 16. Now, let's talk about Michael McDowell for a moment. This guy has been on fire in qualifying, snagging 6 poles this season. But man, when it comes to these drafting races, it's like he's got a target on his back. His best finish at a drafting track this year was 8th at Atlanta in the 2nd race of the year. In the other 4 drafting races coming into Talladega, he finished outside the top 33 times. His second best finish, 22nd at Atlanta's summer race. Today, he got caught up in that massive wreck and finished 37th. Alright, now let's break down the big one a bit more. We're talking about a 28-car pileup here. That's not just big, that's historic. The previous record for the largest wreck in NASCAR Cup Series history was set back in 2003 at the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. That one involved 27 cars. Today, we topped it by 1. It's a record that no one really wants to break, but it's a testament to just how chaotic Talladega can be. It all started with 5 laps to go. Austin Cindric and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. were battling for the lead coming down the backstretch. They were passing Todd Gilliland, who was a lap down due to a pit road speeding penalty. Cindric got a gap between himself and Brad Keselowski, but Keselowski, with a push from Joey Logano, closed that gap fast. Too fast, as it turns out. Keselowski's push was too much for Cindric to handle. Cindric spun off Keselowski's bumper, bounced off Stenhouse's car, and then careened in front of the whole pack. And just like that, chaos ensued. The list of drivers caught up in this mess is like a who's who of NASCAR. We're talking Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, Harrison Burton, Joey Logano, John Hunter Nemechek, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Noah Gragson, Daniel Suarez, Corey LaJoie, Josh Berry, Todd Gilliland, Anthony Alfredo, Zane Smith, Martin Truex Jr., Shane Van Gisbergen, Christopher Bell, and Eric Jones. 8 of these drivers were in the playoffs, fighting for a spot in the round of 8. Joey Logano, who got caught up in the mess, had this to say.
Joey, was that just a push gone wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone just gets more aggressive at the end of the races, and the 2 got out there a little bit more than what he has been, and the 21 gave me a shove and transferred that to the 6. You can't see what's in front of you from there, and he got to the 2 with a fair amount of steam there, and I mean, it's nobody's fault. It's not Brad's fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the product of the races we got. And everyone's getting more and more aggressive as the laps wind down, and it happens. It just happens a lot.
One of those where it's fun until it's not.
Michael McDowell, who also got caught up in the wreck, shared his perspective. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I came down the back straight away and saw one car get turned. I don't even know what car it was. And everybody just ran right into each other, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to react. I was kind of in the middle of it before it even started. It's unfortunate. It's part of speedway racing. I mean, when you get down to that 5 laps to go, the intensity ratchets up. But the real story here is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This guy dodged the big wreck, made it through a 2-lap overtime shootout, and then pulled off a pass for the lead that'll go down in Talladega history. He beat Keselowski to the line by 0.006 of a second. That's not just close. That's, I can't believe my eyes, close.
Felt really good. We had our, Chevy teammates behind us, and I was hoping Kyle wasn't going to push the 6 that hard. I knew that 24 was probably going to try and, get to the line there, but man, this team has put a lot of hard work in. Obviously, we haven't won since the 500 in 23, and it's been an up and down season. It was a lot of hard work this season, just trying to find a little bit of speed, but we knew that, this track is one of ours to come get. So for all of our southern Mississippi people, appreciate y'all coming. This means a lot, winning here. Got to say, we're thinking about everybody in Western North Carolina. Brad Doherty, his family, right where he grew up there in Black Mountain. A lot of people are struggling. I wish my wife and son Stetson were here. They didn't come this weekend, but I'll see y'all at home, and man, what a day. Just proud of this group.
Here's what Stenhouse had to say after the win. This win is Stenhouse's 4th career victory, his 2nd at Talladega. His other 2 wins came at Daytona. It's his first win since the 2023 Daytona 500, snapping a 65-race winless streak. Now, let's talk about how this race shook up the playoff picture. William Byron's 3rd-place finish was enough to lock him into the round of 8. The guy's been on a tear lately, earning the most stage points for the 2nd straight week and coming home with another podium finish. Kyle Larson had a sneaky good day, finishing 4th. He survived Talladega. More than survived, actually. He earned stage points and got a top 5 finish. Christopher Bell ended up 6th, and Denny Hamlin, despite earning 0 stage points, came home 10th. Speaking of Hamlin, he had one of those days that'll make your head spin. He got caught up in that early crash with Blaney, had some pit stop issues, and then somehow managed to avoid the big one. He finished 10th, which doesn't sound great until you realize he was running 32nd at one point. Here's what Hamlin had to say about his day.
Well, his strategy was to ride around in the back pretty much for the majority of the afternoon, but he managed to avoid the biggest big one in Talladega history. Denny Hamlin, 10th place finish. Big brain moves with you today.
Yeah, I'll let you give me the credit for an inadvertent losing the draft. But no, we tried to do the best we could. After we had that damage from the Blaney incident, I just didn't have the speed in the car. It knocked the whole front end up, the hood's out, and I knew that we needed to be in the pack. So once we lost, the tail end of the draft right there, I knew we were in big trouble unless he called caution, and he did.
Let's break down the playoff standings after this chaos. Byron's locked in on points. Bell and Larson are virtually locked in. Hamlin, after another stressful afternoon, is somehow plus 30 heading into the Roval. Alex Bowman is plus 26 heading to one of his best tracks. He's never finished outside the top 10 at the Roval. Ryan Blaney, despite his crash, is still in a good spot thanks to all the other playoff drivers caught up in the big one. Tyler Reddick is plus 14, and Chase Elliott is plus 13. On the outside looking in, Joey Logano. He's 13 points below the cut line. Behind him are Suarez, Cindric, and Briscoe, all pretty good road course racers. So the Charlotte Roval is shaping up to be a nail-biter. Josh Berry summed up his frustration pretty well.
I'm with Josh Berry. What did you see out there?
All I know is that all those cars parked in turn 3 better not get towed to pit road, buddy, because that'd be breaking the damaged vehicle policy. Fucking 42 cars over there doing burnouts, slinging rubber all over the safety workers trying to get going. But if you have 4 flat tires, you gotta get towed to pit road. You're done, right?
Looking ahead, we've got the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course coming up next. It's the last race in the round of 12, which means it's do or die time for a lot of drivers. Joey Logano's on the outside looking in, 13 points below the cut line. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to NASCAR Insider and share your thoughts in the comments below.